Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Geeking Out podcast. I am the Athletic Geek, and this is a very special episode that I've been looking forward to doing for a long, long time. Uh, a lot of other YouTube channels like this do top 10 lists, and they're fun videos. I watch the hell out of them, and they do a tremendous job on them. But kind of want to try a little something different when it comes to our top 10 lists. So not only is it going to be my top 10 of this subject, but I also have the rest of the Just Us Marks panel, easy for me to say. I've got CJ.
Yep.
I've got Nick.
What's up?
And I've got EZ.
Hello.
And for our very first collective top 10 list here on the podcast, we are going to go through and list our top 10 favorite pro wrestling themes. Everybody loves a good pro wrestling theme. Everybody, I mean, it's like peanut butter and jelly, wrestling and music, you know. So, thought for our first one, rather than just kind of me cycling through my top 10 favorites and not being able to play you any because, copyrights and what have you, I thought we'd just go around and go through everybody's top 10 favorite musics and why it's on our list, why we like it, and why we feel a connection to it. And we are going to start, because ladies first, with CJ. What is your number 10?
I knew it.
Knew it.
So, my number 10 starts out a theme that was originally just a really good song. It's going to be Ronda Rousey's theme, Bad Reputation by Joan Jett.
Okay.
Yes.
I love Joan Jett. She is one of my favorites. But to relate this back, it was a proper theme for Ronda. It had attitude, it had spunk, it hyped you up for what she was about to go into the ring and do. She does kind of care a little bit more about her bad reputation than I think Miss Joan Jett does, but I felt like this needed to be on my list. This was a big important song to me for a big important wrestler for the women's evolution. So here it is at number 10.
Okay, and also not to be too braggadocious, but the three of us also got to see Joan Jett perform that song in person.
Yes. I was about to say, like, was CJ at WrestleMania or no?
She was not.
35. She was.
Had COVID not happened, I would have gotten to see Joan Jett perform this song, not at a WrestleMania, but in a concert. But then COVID happened.
Fucking COVID.
It's funny. I think I freaked out more that Joan Jett was at WrestleMania than I did that Ronda Rousey and everybody else was at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I wasn't rooting for Ronda.
Like,
but
I'm sorry. It's Joan freaking Jett, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, she is the reason. She's the definition of badassery for rock and roll. I'm sorry. Everybody else could fuck off. Joan Jett. I'm sorry. Joan Jett is a queen.
I remember having to FaceTime my mom while that was going on. But okay, well, that's a very good reason. EZ, what is your number 10?
So, my number 10 is Bullet Club. So if this was any higher, you guys would be like, not surprising. But I'm going to be real, just, I guess, like, start off a little simple here. But as much as Bullet Club, as of now, they are not as, I guess, big as they are right now. This is still, honestly, a badass theme.
Like, the moment good,
you hear, the moment you hear the Bullet Club 444 life, which is probably the worst interpretation I ever did, you knew that, like, shit is going to go down. Like, oh, God. Like, who's it going to be? It'll be, like, The Prince, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega. Like, just, you knew shit is going to go down. And to me, and I still think the moment you hear that theme, shit is still going to go down. It's just unfortunate that it's not as hyped as it is. But it has that moment of, again, like as we mentioned before, badassery. Just like when you hear the New World Order's Rock House or the Four Horsemen of, like, whatever their song was called. Just factions have... Okay, sure. Factions have, like, really incredible songs, which is amazing. I was almost going to nearly consider Evolution's Line in the Sand, but I kind of like it more as, like, a great song than a theme in general. So, but for me, like, Bullet Club is amazing.
Awesome. All right, Nick, what is
Let's just hope the faction gets better.
Nick, what is your number 10?
Okay, so I tried not to overthink my list. This is like maybe two revisions from what the first thing that popped in my mind because I think I could change it a million times. But my first one comes from an era when I did not actually watch wrestling. There was like a 3 year gap. And this person had a song when I was watching. I quit watching, came back, he had a different song. I don't think he had it for very long. But mine is my number 10 after going back and watching is Christian's At Last You're on Your Own song.
Nice.
I think that song just is awesome. It just rocks. It's cool. It's a perfect little like breakup from a tag team song. I don't have the emotional connection to it I have with the rest of the songs in this list. Like I said, just because I didn't watch TV live when this was his theme song. Um, and his song after that, and his TNA. He's had a lot of good theme songs actually.
Christian hasn't had a
Um,
bad song, to be honest with you.
no, yeah, because the take what is it? It's a St. Louis band. I don't remember who did it was Waterproof Blonde, and then not I don't remember who it was, but whatever. His Just Close Your Eyes one. But yeah, um, my start of my top 10. It would probably be higher if I was watching at that time, but like I said, I just don't have that emotional response or any real memories connected to it outside of what I went back to watch.
Okay, so after hearing the three of yours, I'm gonna feel like a fucking hipster when it comes to my number 10, because mine's gonna be fairly obscure, and I have it on a burnt CD, but I don't even. I mean, I'm not even check if it's still even on YouTube if there's any version of it. It is Chris Hero's CZW and Chikara theme. I don't know who the artist is. I couldn't find out what it was, but it was a really awesome theme. It started out like the beginning of the uh it was the beginning of it was the original John Williams Superman theme, bum 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 bum, like that, and then it goes into like this gritty rock remix mixed with the da 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 da, and then it had like little like from the old 1930s and 40s Max Fleischer Superman cartoon, like had like the little like it's a bird, it's a plane, Ben Steele with his bare hands, sort of like quotes from that, remixed in with it. So it was like I remember. I mean, just kind of it really fit Chris Hero and just who Chris Hero was, especially then, because this is before he became, the young knockout kid and all that kind of stuff as he would be, and before he became Cassius Ono and all that stuff. So it really fit with the character and the vibe of Chris Hero in his early independent days. And then on top of that was just kind of a badass song. I remember around 2013, 2014, actually going, this should be the theme to the DCEU Superman. If you want to make it go in a dark direction, this would be a cool theme for it, but I digress. Um, so,
That was
yeah,
a cool song.
yeah.
Hmm.
He had a couple cool. I had that one that was like the remix from
I Need a Hero,
Requiem
yeah.
for a Dream.
Yeah.
Those like the dun 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 dun.
You know, I'm
So
amazed that was never Chris Heroes' theme. Is that I need a hero?
It was.
Even though I
There was a
think,
remix of that.
oh,
Yeah.
it was.
In Ring of Honor, like
and then he had yeah.
he had
I don't
the
know. I'm actually not
KOW,
really. I'm not a big fan of that song. Which is like, I just find it cheesy.
but it works for Chris. It really works for Chris Hero, especially in
It
Ring of
does.
Honor.
I mean,
Yeah. But,
I
yeah,
mean,
so
I could
that's
say
my.
that Tarzan Boy is a little bit cheesy for Jungle Boy, but then again, it fits and people love the crap
Oh,
out of it,
fuck yeah.
including me.
But yeah, so probably with I know one of two obscure songs on this list. There's my first one, and if I can find a link to that song, if it still exists in some way, shape, or form, I'll make sure I include a link to that video in the description box so you can hear it for yourself. So CJ, what is number 9?
Okay. I'm gonna keep it like all very not obscure, apparently. My number 9 is Adam Cole's new theme in AEW, Boom. Um,
Young
maybe with
Naruto,
some
boom.
I
Budge.
don't
It's all
know.
about
I
the
don't know what it
budge.
is. Yeah, it's all about the budge. Maybe that's why I like it so much. I think with some time it could go up on the list, but it's still new, so I kind of wanted to look at it a little bit more with a filter like this is new, you're still still new. It's still fun. It could go up, it could go down on the list, but for now, this is where it is. It fits Adam Cole. It's not much different from some other songs that he's used. It's kind of a riff on them, but it fits. It's a good, catchy little tune that'll get stuck in your head. That was kind of one of my criteria is, do I want to play this song aside from in a wrestling vacuum? Does it work for the wrestling vacuum, but does it work as a regular song? And this to me works for both.
Fair. Easy. Who is your number 9?
So number 9 is an interesting one. This is my first women's fighter, or I guess women's wrestler for this one. Maria's With Legs Like That. Now, it's just such a great song, and to me, it really fit Maria, and damn those legs. But also, just you actually got like a really good like crowd pop out of it too. Like anytime when Maria was about to fight, you actually hear like a lot of fans cheer, like, "Yes, it's Maria." It's just unfortunate that she never got, I guess, the needed superstardom that like Beth Phoenix, Melina, Mickey James like had. It's like Maria should have been at some point a women's or divas champion. Like she had the talent. It sucks that now, it's okay, she plays a second fiddle to Mike Bennett, but I liked her bad side when it did come out of it. So I just wish, like I said, that she got more than what she initially deserved, especially with this theme. I just loved it. I fell in love with this song, and just even I would sing along to it because again, it's so catchy, and that's what the themes are supposed to be. And you'll kind of notice a little bit of a trend going more with my list.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Nick, who is your number 9? Or what is your number 9, I should say?
That is a good little pop punk song there, that Maria song.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
My number 9 is one that I know Geek knows pretty well. You guys may know it as too, but Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden for the Besties in the World. That's as obscure as I get. Everything else is from a major company.
Yeah, because I know there'd
That's
be
my only indie song on there.
Yeah, the besties in the world are pretty well the top tag team in the St. Louis independent pro wrestling scene, and they
one of the top in the Midwest, really.
Yeah, on top in the Midwest. They were the final Evolve tag team champions. And they
Matt
have
Fitchett and Davey Vega.
So they basically they have that, and they have a little dance that go along with it.
That's why it has a dance that comes along with it. There's a lot of crowd involvement. The most it's like vacation Bible school dance moves. It's not just like you sway along with it like you do with some of the other songs. Like there's straight up like I said, like vacation Bible school lyrics on the projector in the chapel type of dance moves to that.
I never thought of it that way, but when you put it that way, like that is exactly what that dance is.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that now.
Because I remember.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We will have to send you a video of that. He's the one person that's not seen. He's the outsider. He's the one that's not seen the besties. But yeah, it's like
that's right. I'm the third member of the Outsiders.
We got to get you seeing the besties because they're.
So yeah, look that up if you listen to this. You don't know the besties. I'm sure you can find a match of theirs. There's pretty much not a bad one that I've seen ever.
So
they're a great tag team, top of the Midwest.
Okay.
Specifically, watch their entrance too. I watched them do it with the Rock and Roll Express at a Glory Pro show. It's not a typical entrance song either. Like the opening sting is like a piano and it's like, if you know the song, it's just like a cheesy late 90s like love ballad. And it doesn't make any sense as a song for any wrestling team, but it just works perfectly.
So good to me.
What's up?
Yeah, but there's no like subtext to this. This is just like they're being goofy basically.
Yeah. They're literally being besties and being funny.
Yeah. So it's definitely look them up if you haven't heard of them. They're gonna eventually make it to a national TV stage at some point. They won't be able to be called the Besties
What?
because there's the Best Friends. But I don't know
They
who
could
had
be
that
called the
name first either.
Worsties.
I don't know
But
either, but
I knew about
very
the
good.
Besties first.
I knew about. I kind of found out about them both at the same time.
Yeah.
But all right,
But
so
Besties in the World is also a play on like Best in the World.
I
So it's
know.
like I think it's a better name. But yeah.
So my number 9 is Ken Shamrock's theme from the WWF. I just thought it
Okay.
was a badass fucking theme.
Can you do that one for me? Because I can't think of it right
It's like
now.
dun 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 dun
Okay. Yeah.
dun. You know,
I didn't
I'm not
grow up
doing
with
it.
Attitude Era,
I'm not
so I
doing
don't
it.
know.
I'm not doing it any justice, you know. But like, I just thought it was just such a like. I always thought the theme sounded cool. It was a badass theme for a badass wrestler coming to the ring, and it was like one of those like you felt the intensity. Like I like that theme so much. Like you know, whenever I would play high school sports, like before I'd play high school football or before I'd have a match in high school wrestling, like I would listen to that song to get myself, you know, try to see if I could get into the zone like Ken Shamrock used to, and sometimes
And
I was able.
Snap.
Sometimes I did snap, and sometimes that wasn't always a good thing, depending on what was going on in sports. But yeah, see if I could snap, or at least control snap, or in some cases actually snap the football. But yeah, badass theme, awesome tune. One of yeah, just like a few other songs on this list. Like Jim Johnson he fucking knew how to create music and knew how to take something for a wrestler and make it into what is theirs. And the Ken Shamrock theme is a great example of that, along with a few other themes that we're going to have on this list.
And why the hell is he still not in the Hall of Fame?
Um,
Not Ken Shamrock. I'm talking Jim Johnson. Like, come on. Like, yeah, we don't have a legit Hall of Fame, but seriously,
we're just gonna leave that
love-
one be for right now. Apparently, just there's some heat there. But I will say my last thing on Jim Johnson is I didn't get to see the whole panel because I was too busy getting shafted out of money after a Death of WCW meet and greet gone wrong at StarCast. But I did catch the last part of it with Nick, and it was
I was there for the whole thing, I think.
that was awesome getting to hear him like just in person play some songs like the Gold Dust.
Yeah,
theme.
that was my highlight of StarCast for sure. I hope he does that again somewhere because that was awesome.
Yeah. Playing the Ultimate Warrior theme live and yeah, like that.
Just going into like the story behind him. I don't know why he doesn't have a podcast. I would listen to his weekly podcast.
He's kind of we're off on a tangent now, but that's just our thing. He's kind of like even Conrad said on his podcast. Jim's kind of just a guy who doesn't now that he's out the spotlight doesn't want to be bothered. So
yeah,
Okay,
why
so
he
this
doesn't?
he said he
quiet
was
night.
nervous about doing the presentation, but he did a great job.
Yeah, but
I
like
wouldn't
they
have
even
ever
said,
thought he was nervous.
But when they were like trying to sell this, like if you want to meet Jim Johnson, get on it now because Jim does not do things like this. So, but enough about that. CJ has a number 8.
I have a number 8. And it's not going to be Jim Johnson, even though I do agree.
Damn it.
He I know it would have been a great segue. My number 8 kind of just holds as a person, but I will go ahead and put King of Kings is my number 8 spot, but all of Triple H's songs done by Motorhead are fantastic and they kind of hold my number 8 spot. But the King of Kings is probably my favorite one for him. It's so gritty, and Lemmy is just how he just is.
Godspeed, Lemmy.
Yes.
He like it fit him, especially when he kind of went through his new character change. The music kind of introduced you to who he was really going to be, and I think that in the newer songs, especially King of Kings, like, okay, we had another Triple H evolution, and here he is now, and I think that song really encompassed it, and like everything else, it is something that I think can hold a part away from wrestling. It's just a good song.
Fair. That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
I would agree with all of that.
All right. So EZ, you're number 8.
All right. So before I get into my number 8, I just want to like elaborate more. Like when I listen to like Triple H's old theme music, I honestly can't really get behind it. Like My Time or like
Oh,
Time
I
to
love
Well,
My
the
Begin.
thing
Like
that
Time.
I'll play devil's advocate
this
on
is
that. That really fit him at the time. Like before he became all of
I
Triple
believe it
H's
did.
all of Triple H's
It's just
themes
hearing
like
it now. I don't
served a
think it is.
purpose. Like it
They
was
did.
like
Yeah.
there was
But like when you
My
hear
Time, and then
DX,
he
like that's a
became the
great
game,
song.
and then he became the King of Kings. So it's like they all.
Yeah.
They introduced you to what the new evolution of Triple H would be.
But,
It really did,
but
and you can put that into a
yeah.
segue for later.
Like
Um,
yeah. But again, it's like you Triple H and Motorhead just fits
Oh,
so
absolutely.
perfectly.
I'm not
So
gonna
like
say
that's
that
how I
My
grew
Time
up with
was
that.
better than the other two, but it's just one of those like. Okay, here's my best comparison to kind of before we segue into yours. You know,
Yeah.
when I think like I watched Spider-Man cartoons my whole life. And, when I think of like the cool Spider-Man themes, the catchier Spider-Man themes, I like the Fox Kids, the real badass gritty, radioactive spot, like love that one. And then there's the spectacular
Hmm.
Spider-Man theme, which was significantly more catchy. But it's one of those, okay, I like those better than the classic 1960s Spider-Man theme, but the classic 1960s Spider-Man theme laid the groundwork, and it's like it's got its place. Maybe I don't like it as much as the other
Yeah.
two, but it has its place.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so going on to my number 8. So this is a mixture of again, catchy, and it actually does hold a special place in my heart. It is the number 1 best theme song that you can ever hear at WrestleMania. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Okay,
That's
probably
fair.
not.
That's fair. No, that's
Probably the
great.
last song you would hear. But yeah. No, here's why. So obviously, like Shane McMahon, not one of my favorites, but he was great for his time. And honestly, when you hear "Here Comes the Money," it's a great song. Like even if Shane McMahon, the character, gets annoying as hell, it's still like a great song. And the very first time that I went to my first Monday Night Raw in Detroit, Michigan, which, in my opinion, probably one of the best wrestling crowds ever. So I was there the night Shane came back 7 years since he left WWE. I don't think I had ever screamed so loudly in my whole life where you get happy tears. It's like, holy shit, he's back. And I even remember when I was going from Windsor going to Detroit on the tunnel bus, I was even talking with fans. It's like, can you imagine if like maybe one day Shane came back and then like a few hours later, here comes the money. And when you watch it on TV, yeah, it's loud. When I was at Joe Louis Arena, it was ear splitting loud. Like nobody who would know all the wrestling rumors could have ever predicted Shane McMahon would ever come back. So that song just held a special place in my heart. And that was the first time, I thought this is it. WWE is going to be amazing back as ever. And yeah, we can all see where our hopes and dreams come to die. So, but anyways, yeah. But yeah, Shane McMahon, honestly, just great song. And, well, hopefully, if Shane was in charge, I would, just my personal opinion, I think he would make it a little bit better than how Vince is doing it as of right now. But who knows? I don't want us to sound dated.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother debate we don't really need to be getting into on this podcast because we got a number 8 from Nick to talk
You can
about.
tune into Just Us Marks for that.
Maybe. Nick, you're number 8.
All right, so the good shout on the Shane McMahon one. It's also the only wrestling song that could also work as a theme song for a SpongeBob character because I think of Mr. Krabs every time I hear that song. Um, so
I'm more shocked that that was never Donald Trump's name. Like, thank God, no. But we're not no politics here. This is pre-politic Trump.
my number 8 is my favorite wrestler of all time. It's only number 8. Probably low for a lot of people's lists and kind of even for mine, but it's lost a lot of its luster in the last few years. But my number 8 is The Undertaker's Funeral March theme, Really, you can pick any of them. That's interchange. Even like the Ministry theme. That's probably my favorite one because in Ministry of Darkness, Undertaker is my favorite Undertaker because it was the one that was there as I was like the most hardcore fan as a child. So, but just take your pick on an Undertaker theme that's not by, you know, a mainstream rock band. Not that, and I love Limp Bizkit, like I still
I
do. I
was
don't
about
care,
to say,
but
hold on, I love
um,
Rollin'.
yeah, but that's not the theme I'm talking about. I'm talking about
True, true.
the Funeral March theme or the Ministry theme, which is kind of like a tweak on that. But um, you know, one of the most iconic themes of all time, the gong, the lights go out, the 45-minute walk to the ring, something that you
And
never
now it's no
really
longer by
forget.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the most fun
Almost made
thing
me
to
choke
do
on
when you
Coke.
were a kid playing with toys. That was like, I had my little stereo in my room with my WWF Attitude or whatever CDs, and I'd play them when I brought my figures down. You turn all the lights off, and you put the gong on, and you like have a lot of memories of that song. And it's not really something I would ever listen to like in the car, but that's not really a criteria for my list. Mine are more just about like the emotional responses and like memories I have with it, and how good I think
Right.
it works as a theme, because I think there's certain qualities like the Undertaker song that do not make it as like a catchy or like a good pop song, but make it a good theme. So that's Undertaker's. If this list would have been probably compiled around WrestleMania 27, it would probably be a lot higher than number 8, but it is what it is. He's still my favorite wrestler of all time. Um, and it was awesome to see that, you know, it was on the downturn of his WrestleMania career, but I am happy I got to see that entrance, I think 3 times at WrestleMania. So glad I can check that one off my bucket list.
Awesome. So for my number 8, it is Kingdom, Cody Rhodes' current theme.
Oh.
I just think it's a, when I hear that song, I think of All In. I think of, kind of this whole journey that we've been on, since that day. I think of that moment of him winning the title, and it's also just a real damn good song. Like, it's the lyrics suit Cody Rhodes. The real lyrics and the Dark Order, adrenaline in my soul, something something Cody Rhodes, all of it works. It's a really good song. Like, it's a song I could listen to in the car because it's a good song. That totally fits Cody Rhodes. We're just gonna pretend that Snoop Dogg remix doesn't exist, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a little rough.
Yeah.
um,
What about the like
We love you,
super
Snoop, but
American
no.
one with the trumpets or whatever
I
with
like that.
strings? How do
I
you feel?
like it.
I like that one too. Yeah.
But
I feel like
this
that
one's
should
just
only
the
be
regular
played
one
for
for
like
me.
I feel like that should only be played for honestly just like patriotic pay-per-views. Like if like Double or Nothing on Memorial Day or like for the 4th of July, like patriotic's not bad, but it's like if it again, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I like the song the way it is right now. The trumpets is not bad, but you know what? Okay, I'm gonna rephrase that a bit. Play it on pay-per-views only, and then as for Kingdom, just leave it alone for Dynamite and Rampage.
I can agree with that. But yeah, Kingdom.
Yeah.
Uh, Great memories attached to the song. Great memories of hearing that song in person. Um, Great matches I've seen in person, and uh,
How do you feel about Smoke and Mirrors?
oh, well, see, I didn't like the first Smoke and Mirrors, but like, for the longest time, is the heel version of like the disfigured Cody Rhodes theme, where it was like really slowed down. That was actually my ringtone back when, like, on the flip phone, where you had to like record, like, I had to hold it up to my laptop and record it. So for like about 6 months, if anybody called me, you heard a very, like, like distorted whoa, dun, 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 dun. But with the other songs here on this list, I'd call that an honorable mention. It doesn't make the top 10, but it was my ringtone in 2011 on an old Verizon flip phone. A custom ringtone, if you will. All right, CJ, I believe you got a number 7.
I have a number 7. So my number 7 goes to one of my absolute favorite wrestlers because this song will get me to jump up and scream every single time I hear it, especially if I haven't heard it for a really long time, which happens to happen a lot because It's Brock Lesnar's theme, and sometimes we don't see him for a long time. So every time I hear the dun, I'm up, I'm hyped, I'm ready to go. It's called Here Comes the Pain. It's named rightly so that because Here Comes the Pain. And it is a Jim Johnson theme. It's I think one of the last ones he did before whatever happened. And it's good. I think it was like a little kind of a riff of it was also used as the SmackDown theme for a little while, or at least like the ending of the SmackDown. There's like there's some grunting in the middle of it if you listen to the whole song, and it's very, very similar, if not exactly the same as the original SmackDown themes. But there it sits at number 7. It's a wrestling theme. It's a very good wrestling theme. Out of the vacuum, it's not the best song, so that's why, even though he is one of my absolute favorites, it sits at number 7.
Can't wait to see him. Never mind. I'll just sound dated. Never mind.
That is like a perfect wrestling entrance
It
theme,
is.
I think. You can't really ask much more as far as like creating the atmosphere and the vibe you want for a wrestler coming out. So that's a
Absolutely.
And
good
like
pick.
Boombox Brock is just my favorite incarnation of all that.
Oh yeah,
him.
Boombox
yeah.
Brock is the man.
No.
Start
Sorry,
Brock
he was-
party.
He was my favorite.
No. He looked like a father going through a midlife crisis.
Exactly.
He wanted to be hip with the kids. Like Stu Buscemi, how's it going, young kids?
So,
Whatever
how
he
do
said.
how do you do,
girls love a
fellow
bad
kids?
bod.
All right, so
No.
Easy, I believe you got a number 7.
So my number 7, again, it ranks under the catchy, and it's just anytime I hear it, even I was like playing it today because it's so freaking catchy. Lance Archer's "Everybody Dies." It's like how do you make a more hilarious, perfect theme song to Lance Archer, or as he was once known on WWE as Vance Archer? Because yeah, there was totally not a great idea to combine Vance Archer, Lance the Vance. I don't know if anybody plays GTA Vice City, you'll get that reference.
I do get that one, yes.
But there you go. But yeah,
He was also Dallas once.
Dallas Archer, or
He's called Dallas.
Who was he in TNA?
Dallas. Well, he was Lance Hoyt in TNA, but he was also
Lance
Dallas.
Hoyt. That's what I was
Lance
thinking.
Hoyt,
Also
yeah.
Dallas. Yeah. He's both.
Yeah. But yeah, just this song is just so catchy. If you don't get pumped up whether you cheer for Archer or not, you know for a fact that everybody is going to die because you see him literally steamrolling everybody the moment he enters the ring. So, but yeah, I really hope, hopefully predict in the future that he will be a world champion.
Okay.
Very good. Nick, you got a number 7?
Mm-hmm. I like the Lance Archer song. It has I feel like it has too many intros for me. It starts out with like that drum riff, and then it says "Everybody Dies," and then it has like a third vibe to it. But I like the
that it
first
changes
30
tempo.
seconds. Yeah, I do, and I
There's the
also love how he
countdown
just
and then the
beats
drum
people up
beat.
on his way to the ring. I think that's a cool
Exactly.
aspect. So my number 7 is another one from my childhood, though. Up until a couple months ago, this was still used on WWE television, I believe. And it is the Hardy Boys theme song. I think I think like Brock Lesnar's, it's just a really good wrestling theme, and it manages, which we've talked about Jim Johnson, which I'm almost positive he did this one.
Yeah.
Really like encapsulating the energy and vibe of a wrestler. And that's exactly what the Hardy Boys theme did. I don't know what the name of it is or anything.
It's
I know
called Loaded.
I've heard it loaded. I know I've heard it in like a car commercial before and like on some other stuff. So it's
funny.
been like loaned out or something.
I heard
But
the
I
song on
think it's a
Disorderly Conduct.
I don't know what that is.
It was a TV show on Spike that not Paramount Network, but it's it was basically just about like cop cars and chases and all that. So
Yeah,
Like,
it's in
please
some
change the
kind of
song.
like not public domain, but whatever like they
Yeah.
sold the rights to. I don't know how it works. I don't know how
Mhm.
the music rights things works, but I've heard in other
Uh-huh.
stuff, but I'll never like they could be the theme song to like a number one TV show and I'll still recognize it as a Hardy Boys song. I
Yeah.
think it just like I said, works perfectly. I have a lot of memories attached to that one. One of the coolest, probably among the loudest pops I've ever been a part of was at WrestleMania when they made their return in Orlando to that song, and that was a really cool just moment as far as like hearing a song live. But just been one of my favorites since I was a kid, and um, I like the Undertakers. It's just it's been used for so long. They've been wrestling for so long, off and on in WWE, but it's kind of it's not like as exciting as it used to be, but still in my top 10 back half of it at number 7.
Awesome. Um, so my number 7 is maybe one that's a little bit more obscure, but definitely not as obscure as Chris Hero's CCW theme. Um, it is "Unsettling Difference," Kevin Steen's Ring of Honor theme. This was
Ooh.
just a really awesome, badass song. So in 2009, Ring of Honor went away from the actual music being the wrestler's theme, so we no longer had the final countdown for Bryan Danielson, and we no longer had Sledgehammer for Claudio Castagnoli, and
The greatest
uh,
man that ever lived.
yeah, we no longer had the greatest man that ever lived for Austin Aries, or Give Me Back My Bullets for the Briscoes, or Fucking in the Bushes for Nigel McGuinness. No longer Olay for El Generico, but um, around 2010 they started, get some, more. I don't know if obscure is the right word because it makes it seem like they're not very good, but like a little bit unknown bands were contributing to ROH, and you know, you ended up really having a. They had a string of some really hot themes. The Kings of Wrestling theme. Um, you had the American Wolves theme, and this is the one that really stood out because it was like the first one where it's like, yes, okay, here's a really awesome, badass theme that completely fits the wrestler. That is actually, it was the first time since that transition that the theme that they had for somebody was better than what they had before that transition. And it's like, okay, cool. Like you felt good about the whole transition now because you finally had somebody who came out on the other side better. Whereas when Brian and Generico and the Briscoes and Claudio would come out, you'd find yourself just going, uh, like I
I
remember
think I remember liking Nigel's new theme.
Nigel's theme wasn't bad, but it definitely I missed the London Bridge and opening with the Oasis song. And Nick, you were there. I think when we were expecting Brian Danielson to come out, and we heard this generic rock music and not the final
Hmm.
countdown. Um, we were not happy at all. Like we were very angry. We started chanting "fuck this music," and Brian agreed. um, but this is the first where like it was just
Did
awesome
that
theme.
spread around in the ring or
Oh yeah,
no?
oh yeah.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
but yeah, awesome theme. Really fit his unhinged, don't give a fuck about anything heel character. Um, yeah, and
How do you
that
feel
one
about his
that
WWE theme?
it's cool. It's
I
no
like his
it's
WWE
no
theme a
unsettling
lot.
differences, but it's cool. And this theme though is on Spotify, so if you
I'll have to
can't
look that
find,
up because I don't know that song.
you don't know that, you might know it when you've heard it.
I'm sure I would. I mean, I watched ROH at that time, but
Like I said, this one might be a little bit easier for people to find, unlike my number 10. So yeah, unsettling differences. Kevin Steen's Ring of Honor theme. All right, number 6 for CJ.
Yeah. And that one kind of made my honorable mentions list too, but I had bigger fish to fry here. So my number 6 is probably going to be higher on a lot of people's lists. But it is Judas by Fozzy. Chris Jericho's theme, now currently in AEW, obviously. Uh, it's you have to recognize that it's such a good theme. Even it especially fit the character that he was going for in New Japan. A little bit less so now that he is a good guy in AEW, but it's just so attached to him at this point that people would be furious if you changed it. When you can get an entire crowd singing your song, the song that you own, that you wrote, that you sing, it's got to be unreal to him, and you can kind of see the delight on his face, and I think that's cool. It's a good song, it's a good wrestling song, but I couldn't put it any higher than here. And shout out to Jim Johnson once again, because if Judas didn't exist, then Break Down the Walls would probably be here, because that was a very, very solid wrestling entrance theme.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, EZ. You have a number 6.
Yes. So this song in particular, it kind of makes me wish I was part of this era. And every time I hear it now, it's just so badass. But now, like, the best memories, I guess I kind of have it, is when I play SmackDown versus Raw, either 2006 or 2007, because they literally would play this in the video game before it started up. And I am talking about Raws Across the Nation by the Union Underground. And in my opinion, the greatest wrestling intro song ever for a television program. Like, I'm sorry, like, Dynamite's great and all, but, like, you watch Across the Nation and you just think, why the hell did they change this? Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I loved Papa Roach's To Be Loved. I honestly grew up with that theme way more. But when you hear Across the Nation, it's like, this is just so freaking badass. And you see, like, a lot of people on YouTube making, like, special remakes. If today's WWE stars had it, or how I even saw, like, if AEW had Across the Nation, I think I would love this more than Light the Fuse, Bring the Boom, like Across the Nation. If this is not somewhere in your wrestling hearts, then I like. I understand if you don't like WWE anymore, kind of like how I don't anymore, but just this song makes me wish I was in simpler times then. Other than the fact, the Divas weren't really given great matches. It was just bra, panties, mud matches, and all that fun stuff. But to me, I think this is personally the last greatest television wrestling theme song.
Okay. Very
It helps
fair.
that
Right.
they really lit the fuse on the pyro after that theme song every Monday too.
Oh,
That
exactly. Like,
I got to be on a Raw where that theme song was still played, and that it was hot.
yeah.
Literally and figuratively, it was
Like,
hot in there for that.
like if there was ever going to be another throwback Raw or something, can we just get rid of the crappy hip hop? Just bring in the rock and roll, like, please, for one night only.
All right.
I
I
don't
mean,
give
that's
two shits if Stone Cold will show up.
my personal favorite Raw theme was the Siren theme, or the All Together Now. But I definitely see your point. I definitely see your point.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, do you have a
And
number
thankfully, it's on
6?
Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So I'm gonna before I end the list, I'm just gonna run through my honorable mentions. But Thorn in Your Eye is on my honorable mention list, which is another Raw theme. That's the one I have the most memories of as a kid. But that's a good one too. The Across the Nation was also a good song, and you understand what the guy's saying in that one, so that's a plus. Um, my number 6 is my most recent theme. Not the most recent song, but the most recent theme. And the only AEW theme on my list, and it is Tarzan Boy by Baltimora for Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy has been a highlight for me of AEW since I started watching. I'd seen like a match of his maybe from PWG or something before AEW, but I wasn't really familiar with him. So he was one of the few guys that was like legitimately completely new to me when AEW started, and I didn't really know what to expect. But he's in my top 5 AEW wrestlers. I think he rarely, very rarely, ever puts on anything but a good to great match. And the song is cool. I love the song. I listen to the song, on its own sometimes. Um, this is also the only piece of like licensed music that's not, as far as I know, made for wrestling on my list. but it just fits him so well, and the crowd involvement part of it, kind of like Truly Manly Deeply. I guess that's a licensed one too, but that's an indie song. That's an indie wrestler. Um, like the crowd involvement, the singing along, the waving, dancing with the music. I think it just works perfectly. It's very fun, and that kind of rounds out the back half of my top 10 there with the newest addition to this list.
Awesome. Well, for round for my number 6, I am going with the Four Horsemen theme from WCW, and apparently this is the ninth theme, at least according to trying to find the match for it on YouTube. But this one's on Spotify just as the Four Horsemen theme, by Jimmy Hart, who also is criminally underrated as far as writing music. He did most of the WCW themes, while obviously not on Jim Johnson's level. Like, he had some badass ones, and this one was one of his badass ones with the way they have the horse. You hear the horse hooves and the the horse neighs, and then it just goes into really a badass but like almost a suave sort of theme. Like, it looked like this sound is the embodiment of the Four Horsemen. It's badass and it's gonna kick your ass, but it also just has a swagger and a cool and a polish factor to it that is just what um, the Four Horsemen were all about. So yeah,
Right.
not really you know kind of like what we say about matches. Sometimes you can't really analyze it too much. It You just gotta say it's damn good and you should listen to it, and you know this embodies the Four Horsemen and you should listen to it. All right, so we are now to number 5. CJ, what is your number 5?
Okay, I'm going back to the Motorhead for number 5. We're gonna go Evolution's "Line in the Sand." This is such a great song, and it's such a great theme. It was you heard that first opening guitar riff, and you knew that like some shit was going down. If you just like from a personal perspective, Evolution came in kind of my preteen to teen years, and it was just like, oh, the song and the lyrics to this song were it was kind of angsty, had a feel to it. That was where I was in my life. Maybe still going through that in my 30s, but it's fine. So the song really spoke to me. The group, it had an old school feel to it, which I being a wrestling fan from before I can actually remember things. It called back to an era that had kind of gone away at that point, and I really dug the group. So I really dug every time I heard this theme. I was paying attention when this song came on, and it still, you can find it on iTunes, you can find it on Spotify. It is on my playlist personally, so it sits at number 5.
All right, easy.
It's funny, that song was originally going to be my number 9, but unfortunately, because I didn't really grow up much with Evolution, that I kind of wanted to see a theme that not only just fit with me, like personally when I watch wrestling, but just like in general, like it's got a great attachment to it. So, but I like it at least with Across the Nation, which like yeah, this the one song I wish I grew up with. But my number 5 is honestly a song that you would you would never assume that it was not written for wrestling at all. It is literally copyright free. And I'm talking about MJF's Dig Deep by a guy named R.W. Smith. I kid you not, you look this up on YouTube. It is one of those copyright free songs that we can literally play right now. We won't get sued because it's out in the open. So I don't know whether that's just a smart tactic or is it really just a badass theme? And before we even knew who MJF was, you hear the song, it's like, it's not bad. Again, if you listen to like copyright free music on your spare time. But nowadays, like you hear that song, and anytime you go to the comments on any of the copyright free songs of Dig Deep, it's always about MJF. So I just don't know whether was he that smart that he's so much of a bad guy that he didn't even want to get his own theme music. He literally just took one of those copyright-free music stuff.
I don't know if it's a
So
bad guy thing. I just think that's a smart move. Hey, it's copyright free. I can use this forever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
anywhere I go.
nowadays, it's like anyone can use it. I'm shocked. I was like, why can't we have this as our theme song or whatnot? But
Well, now we're stealing from
anyways,
MJF.
like, but we're taking it from a copyright-free source.
But we're still...
Yeah, but he'll sue you anyway.
Yeah, MJF will still come after us.
Whatever. It's MJF. He'll come after anybody, including his own
Exactly.
parents. but but seriously though, like anytime you hear this song, this is the ultimate shut the fuck up and fuck you song. Anytime you hear it. Like, please, for the love of God, let MJF remain a villain for his entire life because he's just so freaking perfect. And this song, God, I wish it was on like Spotify or something, but you got to go to YouTube for this. So it's just such a great theme. That's like, this is literally the theme song you would play as a great bad guy. Now, like, and just going off topic here now, if I had like my own like villain music, there's a great song that you should look up. It's called "In the City" by Kevin Rudolph, and it just speaks bad guy persona, and it's amazing. So just find that song; it's great. That would be if I were a villain myself in wrestling, which I don't have the physique for, so I'll go with manager.
All right, so Nick, do you have a number 5? That's still a good choice, though.
Yeah.
It's a good choice from Easy.
Oh yeah.
I did
Well, I
not
mean,
know
that's
that was
his
a
way of
royalty-free
saying
song.
he is better than you, and you know it.
That's an interesting little tidbit there. I would not have ever guessed that. And it is
No,
smart.
you literally have to like look up so much on YouTube that suddenly when you come across the theme, it's like, holy shit, that's MJF's theme. This is copyright free. What?
And it is
Like, I
the
just
first time I heard that song, I wasn't like sold on it, but now like just because he's so good, you like literally the first note hits and the entire arena starts
well, we all
booing.
heard it in
So it's
All In. It's like,
perfect.
holy shit, this is a badass song.
Yeah, well, there was
We just never knew
there's a lot
it
of
was
shitty music at
royalty-free.
All In. Let's be honest, because they kind of had to. They really had to. Yeah, but Nick's got a number 5.
All right, my number
So
5
number cinco.
is a very popular entrance song, I think, that a lot of people have on their list. And I'm not going to try to be too cool for school and not include it just because it's on a lot of people's. But Metalingus by Alter Bridge for
Yes.
Edge. Just a perfect wrestling song. I Think You Know Me, the like drum solo coming in, the opening sting on the line, the On This Day, like just a perfect little like intro to a wrestling song. I don't think it gets, I think as far as like the first 3 seconds of a wrestling song, that's maybe number 2 behind my number 1 on this list. But I think that it is also it's a pretty good song. I'm not really into that type of like radio hard rock anymore, like Alter Bridge, but they're, I used to like them. They're a pretty good band. And just a great song. I really didn't like Edge in that time. I was a John Cena guy. I think when I started watching wrestle again, I was in like 7th grade, so I was smarter than I was when I was a little kid watching it, but I still wasn't fully in the know, a smart fan at that time. So the Edge Cena rivalry after he, cashed in Money in the Bank is one of my all-time favorite rivalries. Kind of what got me back into wrestling. That was kind of like the hot thing going at the time. So good memories from, bringing me back into wrestling and then continuing on to this day that, the pop at the Royal Rumble when he came back was an incredible one thanks to that music, and it's just so memorable and it starts so perfectly and it just works. Works not necessarily like for him like the Hardy Boys or Undertakers where it just is like really entrenched into him, but he's had it for so long that you couldn't associate it with anybody else. Just a great wrestling song.
Yeah, very good. A good song. I enjoy it. It'd be an honorable mention on mine. But yeah, it's a very, and it really did fit Edge. Like it was like the next evolution of Edge from just the regular from Rob Zombie. Like Rob Zombie was the good babyface music. This was when he got it. This was heel music.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 5 is the music for my all-time favorite wrestler. It is Sexy Boy, the Shawn Michaels theme. Just
at number 5.
at number
Ooh.
5.
Okay.
It's in the top five. Just um, to be honest, like 4 through 2 are very interchangeable, but I'm just going with this one at number five. Just perfect song for a narcissistic, as Johnny Gargano called him when Nick and I met him at a St. Louis Anarchy show. An arrogant male stripper. um,
Oh.
oh no, he was like saying like Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler, but then I realized that my hero growing up was just an arrogant male stripper. You think that'd mess me up, but it didn't. That was how he said it. But yeah, like it was perfect. It was perfect for him as a heel, as a bad guy. But then it just like kind of almost like some other themes that you start out going, ugh, and then eventually it grows on you. When he turned babyface, it was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's dance along. Let's dance with it too. Let's roll with it. It's the perfect song for him. It's so perfect that it still gets a pop, even though and I can't really speak too much. You'll have to ask some other folks for their opinion on it, but I really don't think he's much of a sexy boy anymore. But it still works for him.
So is it the Sherry version or the
It's
I
the
don't know
Sean.
if I
It's the Sean
okay,
version. Yeah, the
gotcha.
Sherry version didn't last long enough.
No.
But the Sherry
The
version is
Sherry
cool.
version is creepy.
It's
It's
great.
creepy in my opinion. I'm sorry, it's creepy.
So great.
Um,
He's the reason I thought every wrestler sang their song when I was a kid too. It's because he did. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because everyone sings their
Well,
song.
I mean, it
well,
makes sense. I mean, John
there,
Cena sings this music. Shawn
there,
Michaels sings. I wouldn't have been surprised if Triple H sung the game.
there's another song on here that well, we'll get to that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was my number five. We are now to number four, CJ.
Okay, so for my number four, I'm gonna do a little nod to the people who kind of took Jim Johnson's place in the CFOs, and their song for Io Shirai, which is called Tokyo Shock. And this is her current music. This is when she went heel. It starts off with that really funky, like kind of techno thing going on, and really drops in with a beat. I I thought it was a really good thing to switch up her music when she changed her character. I thought that the music kind of fit, and the way she comes to the ring with it, kind of creepy. That to me, that clicks. I click with the creepy people. So to me, this is a great theme song. Kind of going back to my other criteria, even though this doesn't have lyrics, it's just an instrumental. I personally have this on my playlist. It's something that I jam out to on the regular. This was actually one of my ringtones for a while with my older phone. So this is a great song. For, the next couple can be totally interchangeable, but this one landed number four. Final answer.
Awesome. So, Easy, what is your number four?
All right, so sorry, just having phone issues, but now we're good. So my number four, not only is it honestly just a catchy song, but its entrance video, if we did like our top 10 entrance like videos, this would easily be in my top three, and it's Darby Allin's I Fell. Now,
Okay.
I kid you, now going back with the theme that like we thought wrestlers sung their own entrance musics, I actually thought Darby sung this song, but no, it was from some band that's, oh my god, I was just looking on it right now. It's called like Wicca something.
Wicca Face
Where is
Spring
it?
Eternal.
Wicca Face Springs Eternal. Yes. So try saying that 3 times fast. But anyway, so it's just such a catchy song again. It's like the moment you hear the guitar riff, like dun 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 dun, it's like, oh my. And when you see like when he would used to, but now I guess he kind of sort of is trying to bring it back a little bit. But when you just see Darby skating to the ring, it's just awesome. Like, name another wrestler where instead of saying on his way to the ring or making their way to the ring, skating their way to the ring is Darby Allin. Like, it's just such a great song, especially just the entrance video just makes it so amazing. Like the animated him like being, I guess, like half dead, and you just see him skating. It's like, if for AEW's next video game, if they don't make that as a mini game, I'm gonna be extremely furious. Like SmackDown versus Raw had, Eugene's little mini game, which is a little bit stupid, but still, and you could play poker with the wrestlers. But again, it's like, Darby, we need a video game on mobile or console, like just Darby Allin just skating around people. Like,
Like a
if
Temple
you know
Run
what?
game.
Oh no, I'm gonna go even higher. If AEW makes a racing game, which God forbid, it has to be skateboards. Please.
Or
Gotta
everybody,
be
or everybody
skateboards.
could have a car. Like FTR could have the truck.
Oh,
Darby
true.
could have a skateboard.
What was that
MJF can
WWE
have a
game
gigantic
that was
limo
like
that
the
takes up the
Twisted
entire
Metal
space.
WWE game?
Yeah, like Crush Hour. Yeah.
Crush Hour, yeah.
Yeah, except at least in this case, we're not trying to take over the WWE or whatnot. Like, oh my god. No, I watched a review of like Crush Hour from like Brian Zane, and oh my god, it's like that. The game is that bad. Like, oh
I
my
had fun
god.
playing. I never owned it, but I had fun playing it. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's sad that how generic Jim Ross sounds in that game
oh yeah,
too.
that's
It's like, oh
terrible.
my
But
god.
like,
And
as
it's
far
like,
as just
what the
playing
hell do you have me rating here, Vince?
um,
Uh,
just playing it, I had a good time. But Nick, I believe you got a number 4.
All right, yeah, we're getting into the upper echelon here. So this is another recent addition that would not have been on here a few years ago, but by no means a new song. Um, Probably the most effective song still running in wrestling today, even though it's not. There's another active song on here above it, but dun 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 dun. Walter Ringkampf, whatever you want it to be. I think
is it like
Walter's song
Symphony in
is
In A
perfect. It's like
major?
Symphony 9 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an absolutely perfect song for him. Fits him so well. His pose with his hands behind his back. It's got that Jaws vibe in the beginning, the dun dun, and he's basically Jaws. It's just the greatest living wrestler in my opinion. I think he is my. I don't know if he's my favorite, but I think he is the best wrestler wrestling today. With a perfect theme song for him. Um, like I said, the most effective, the one that like I hear that I immediately perk up and I'm like, oh, I'm about to see someone die. Like this is gonna be an awesome match. Um, just excellent.
Okay. So my number 4 is Ikari no Jushin, the theme song for Jushin Thunder Liger. Like this song is
Hey.
the perfect embodiment of Jushin Liger. It is, character. He's based on a manga character, and this is an anime theme for an anime character come to life. Just you know, you hear that, the very first, and like you immediately know Liger's coming to the ring. You feel the energy and the charisma of Jushin Liger, and yeah, just entrance is badass, and he is, you know, again, I kind of mentioned this like for Sean saying if there's a song that could truly embody a character, this is one of there's another one coming up next that is also the embodiment of a character, but for me, but this is another one of those where it's like this is perfect. This is an iconic and perfect song for an iconic man. And now we are on to number 3, CJ.
Top three.
Top 3, and my 2 and 3 are so interchangeable. But for number 3, I went with Shinsuke Nakamura's first WWE theme. It's an instrumental again. That's usually not my taste, but when you can get an entire arena to sing along with music and not actual lyrics, a lot like how they did with Baltimore's theme with Jungle Boy, I think that speaks a lot to how perfect the wrestling theme actually is, especially for that person. And it's a really, really beautiful song. I dig it. I think it fits him perfectly. It fits his charisma and the way he makes it down to the ring, just like EO is very iconic. It's different, it's creative, and it's a great wrestling theme, in my opinion.
Okay. Easy. What is your number 3?
Before I get to that, I'm almost like thinking, what would a mashup sound like of Jungle Boy and Shinsuke Nakamura as a tag team? How, how
I don't.
nice would that sound?
I,
Like, whoa, 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 whoa.
oh,
I don't know.
well, there's another YouTube channel that does that. Subscribe to their Patreon and request it.
Yeah.
It would sound like Freddie Mercury vocal lessons. Anyways, so my number 3 is actually the last AEW theme, and not only does it have like a special like set in my heart, but honestly, I haven't played this song going to work because it's just such a great like song to keep you motivated as well. And it's Kenny Omega's Battle Cry. Now, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest. When I first heard the song, oh, sorry, you were saying?
Oh no, I'm saying that is very like if you are doing some cardio or if you are lifting weights and when
If
that
you're a
when that
diehard Winnipeg Jets fan,
I don't know anything about that, but
hockey.
yeah, if you're like working out and you hear that crescendo, you're like, okay, hey, I don't know how many more reps I can do. Are you ready for this? Okay, I can do some more reps.
Yeah.
Or
But
when
yeah,
you're
for this,
balancing
like,
a budget.
so
Sure.
So honestly, when I first heard this, like, I honestly couldn't get behind it. I thought the build up was way too slow, and I think like when Kenny said like my new theme song is gonna be like a video game, like Boston Battle and all that. It's like okay, cool. And I hear it's like, it's okay, but at least now, like when they actually like cut to like the beginning crescendo of it for to it now, it's you get a ring to it, but again, like it's still like a little bit slow, but once you get used to it, you get that attachment to it, and then it's like, are you ready for this? So now, as much as I still miss Double Sky, which I low-key wish it would come back for maybe one night only or one night, but we'll see how that works out, especially with New Japan. But Battle Cry is still just honestly a great song, so it keeps me hyped up for the day. It keeps me hyped up with my sports, and especially it keeps me hyped up watching AEW and Winnipeg's favorite child. Sorry, Jericho, but at least Kenny was born there.
I'll admit
Yes,
this
that's a
is a theme
shade.
I didn't really like it at first, and it definitely grew on me. It grew on me significantly.
And it's a song that you can both cheer and boo at.
Exactly, and that's very well said. Um, Nick, what's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 um is somebody's gonna get their ass kicked by by 3-6 Mafia for Mark Henry.
Nice.
Mark Henry is not
Yes.
among my favorite wrestlers, although this Hall of Pain run was awesome,
Oh yeah.
even at the time. Like I thought that, you know, he really took him a long time to really get the Jets on, like 12 years. But once he did, like that run was just cool, and he seems like a cool guy. But like he's not in my top 50 wrestlers probably. But his theme song is awesome. It's a band like I would and sometimes still do listen to outside of a wrestling context, 3-6 Mafia. It's that, you know, really edgy Southern 2000s rap. But I mean, what better like title and lyrics and just energy for a wrestler like Mark Henry? Somebody's gonna get their ass whooped. So as soon as he comes out, like, also I just love the beat him up, break his neck, break his neck. It's just so like,
It's my
it's so on the
favorite.
nose for a wrestling song. Um, I think that it just fits perfectly. It's a badass song, and it definitely fits him very well. And one of my favorite wrestling songs, one that I would listen to outside of a wrestling playlist, and just an all-time classic in my opinion. A little bit of an underrated one as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
3-6 Mafia should have written more wrestling songs.
Hmm.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes when you get to perfection, you don't really want to jeopardize it anymore.
That's
Yeah.
So my number 3 is the Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness theme. In particular, the
There you
Ministry of
go.
Darkness theme. I love the funeral march theme. I can appreciate the American Badass. You've done it now. I can appreciate all of that, but to me, this is like the best Undertaker theme. It feels, again, fucking Jim Johnson, man. Just it feels evil. It
Mm-hmm.
feels triumphant. It feels like it feels like you're getting ready to battle a satanic phenom, and it made you excited. It pumped you up, but it also made you scared, and it made you wonder how the hell um, The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or Mankind was gonna get through it this week. And like I said, you were pumped up, and but on the same time, like it brought those chills to my 8, 9, 10-year-old self watching Raw's War, and yeah, this is definitely, my opinion, all the great themes the Undertaker's had. This was the best, and that's why it's number 3.
I don't understand the hate Ministry Undertaker gets
I
either.
I can
He's
under
still my favorite version.
I kind of
Bad booking.
I think it
No.
was I think it was the higher power being like as much of a fart in church as it was, and it's also one of those, like, I feel like a lot of it now is kind of like come after the fact, and this is a tangent I do not want to go on, but it's one of those, for all the things that so many modern wrestlers are kind of shit on for by quote unquote real people in the business. Here's a person that is going to embalm you alive and shoot lightning bolts out of his hand. And that was apparently A-O-fucking-K, and we should love and respect, how brilliant and how great that was, but apparently a man with his hands in his pockets wrestling. God damn, you just can't, but fuck, that's just so fucking unbelievable. So I feel like a lot of it is because some of the people that put it on a pedestal are also some of the people that are like nitpicking the fuck out of what we as a fan. I can't speak for everybody. For what me personally, what I enjoy in wrestling now is called crap and kills the business and exposes the business and is only acceptable if you're a stupid mark. But apparently, um, you know, um, a man as a satanic cult leader, going to literally kidnap Stone Cold Steve Austin, take him to a funeral home, and embalm him alive with policemen watching, going, "Oh yeah, okay, it's just a thing,"
Seems legit.
literally nothing, literally on what is supposed to be a sports broadcast. Somebody is going to be embalmed alive, and you just, like, the worst things happen is JR's like, "This is terrible. Someone needs to stop this." I think that's why Ministry Undertaker gets some hate, is because
It's
of
silly.
what's considered, that was considered okay when so many things that are not quite as ridiculous as that are apparently wrong for the wrestling business. But that's the tangent
It's crazy.
aside.
That's our first overlap song. We're all the way like 4 of us going from
And you
number
and
3
you
to
even
the
chose,
getting overlap.
and that's not even really an overlap because you chose the funeral march. I chose specifically.
Well, I have written on mine Ministry, but I mean, they're kind of interchangeably
Fair,
good to me.
fair.
But yeah,
All right, we're down to the top 2, and it's CJ's turn first.
Yeah, and we did almost overlap because Taker he was sitting in my number 10, and I just had to bump it. But for my number 2, we're going to go to that time frame, and it's my number 2 is Stone Cold's theme. There's nothing to me for, how I grew up and when I grew up. There's nothing that's so iconic as the glass shatters. When you heard that shit was going down, that would have been my 6, 7 through 10-year-old self. If I was anywhere else other than right in front of the TV, I was running through the house. I got in trouble so many times for jumping on the furniture, for doing all kinds of stuff because I heard this music and because things were happening, and he was he was the icon of my childhood. He was my father's favorite. He is one of my all-time favorites. So he had that theme song had to be included. It's the perfect song to encapsulate that character.
Now, okay, when you mentioned Glass Shatters, are you talking about like the Disturbed variation of that song?
No.
That's the song
Okay,
that
I'm
they
just making sure
named
because
it, but like,
ironically there is a song called Glass Shatters.
yeah, and that, I think that kind of speaks to how iconic the song really was, because Disturbed did the version on it for one of the music CDs. Snoop Dogg did a version of it at one point. Kind of.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg did a rap to it.
I don't want to know.
You can find it on iTunes and Spotify. It's not.
No
it's
thanks.
not bad. It's not bad.
No thanks.
Disturbed version was definitely the better.
But you're just talking regular one, right?
Yeah, I'm just talking the original one. But in the original, the first sound that you hear is glass shattering. That's why Disturbed called it the Glass Shatters. So you heard that just glass just completely shatter, and you knew shit was going down. He's going to take care of business. Vince was going to get his comeuppance. Business was about to be taken care of in the most redneck way possible. And to kind of speak on my childhood, that's how shit went down in our house. So.
All right. Easy. What is your number 2?
All right, so this is probably going to be a hilarious segue, going from a beer truck to a milk truck.
Could not have planned that any better.
Yes. Literally, my number 2, this is honestly the reason why I got into wrestling, is the moment I heard this song. This is like probably the most patriotic thing I've ever heard coming from a Canadian, and that is Kurt Angle's Metal. There have been many variations of this, even the song like repeating itself like 3 times, which was freaking annoying. But no, just the regular like dun 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 dun. It's like, how more USA can that get? Like Kurt Angle, like he's an Olympic champion who won with a broken freaking neck, and again, like I got into wrestling because I heard Kurt Angle's theme. It's like, that's the most awesome thing I've ever heard in my life. And for the longest time, even too, like as a little kid, I didn't even know the fans were even chanting "You suck." I literally, kid you not, I thought they were saying "You saw," like USA. It's just a combination of you saw. I was 6.
Oh, you're fine.
What the hell do you want me to say?
You were 6 and Canadian. It's okay. We forgive you.
Exactly.
For being 6.
Yeah, and now
yes.
Whatever. But yeah, like anytime you hear that,
just
like,
for the record, that was Nick that said that, not me. Nick was the
know,
one taking the pot shot in Canada that time, not me.
I know it was Nick. I know. I can know the voice differences. But anyways, it's
just fine for the listeners.
It's like, how more can you? Okay, whatever. But how more patriotic can that honestly get? And combine that with like his entrance videos, like integrity, intelligence, all that fun stuff. It's like, it's just so freaking USA meta. Like, if you compare this with Real American, I'm sorry, but Kurt Angle sounds way more patriotic than I Am a Real American. It's like, you don't need lyrics to the song. God forbid he had to make lyrics for this for the WWE Originals album, which is probably the worst thing you'd ever want to listen to unless you want to find basic thugonomics. But so Kurt Angle, like, this song is why I got into wrestling to begin with. It's just the song was catchy. It's so patriotic, and I just thought Kurt Angle at the time was like, that was the coolest guy. He's the best like description of like America, of just being like strong, brave, freedom, all that fun stuff, and milk. Again, that segue could not have been played any better.
Oh no, that was perfect. So I mean, like, are you going with Judas for the Bubbly Mobile next, Nick? Because I feel like that's the only way we can do this.
No mobiles here.
Streak's broken, guys.
Or maybe the Rock's pie.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, the only thing, if you're going with the next thing, how about Eddie Guerrero for the poop truck they sprayed on the Big Show?
No trucks.
Damn
no
it.
cars, unfortunately.
All right, well, what is it?
This is another overlap from one CJ has given, and it is Shinsuke Nakamura's Rising Sun theme. I haven't watched a ton of SmackDown in the last, or rest WWE in the last year or two. I know he still has that song, and he reverted back to not having the lyrics, and the lyrics weren't too bad, and it seemed to have not really worked to get people to not cheer along with it when he was heel. But like CJ said, just a perfect, an awesome song, just in and of itself. It's a beautiful song. It's like powerful. It's um, you know, exemplifies like like the fact that he's Japanese without being like chopsticks, like a racist song, like they like would have used in the past. Um, I think that just a awesome song. He had the first time we ever heard it, him coming into NXT, um, immediately people were just like down with it, and because it's so good, and it's easily, and I think the CFO has had some really great songs on that NXT brand. I think this is like their lasting contribution to wrestling music, that this is one of the best wrestling songs um, ever. And Shinsuke's run throughout his time in WWE has been less than ideal, and we've talked about that a lot in the early days of when it was still just two marks, when it was just me and Eli, or me and
Kevin.
Geek, excuse me, um, talking about that was
Someone's
when
about to get
Shinsuke was
censored.
kind of that was when Shinsuke was on the rise, and we talked about like he's not competing at the level he used to, and and that's kind of like people take that fact for granted now, that Shinsuke is kind of just like cruising on the down, like he did his time getting the shit kicked out of him every night in Japan, and he's kind of just soaking in that money and surfing, and doing his thing in WWE, and I can respect that for sure. So it's not all WWE's fault, I don't think, that it went the way it did, but regardless of all that, just an awesome song. And the energy when he was really like rising up, when he would come in and you would hear that music
Oh yeah,
when he came
it
out,
was
was just
magical.
awesome.
Like you
It really
truly.
was, yeah. I mean, you had some like the Bobby Roode song at that time was, it caught on, and like you had like the Fandango, like that was the first one people kind of sang along with, but that one was like on another level.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my number two is The Rock's theme, specifically his 1998-1999 theme. Um, he kind of uses the corporation theme. I guess also, if you want to find this version to listen to, it's the one they used on WWF The Music Volume 3. Uh, just really like this one. This is the one, where he had a little bit more of his trash talk in there. It's where he, said the Rock says know your role and shut your mouth, and the Rock says know your damn role, and just like the guitar, like the bass, I like that much better than when they switched it over. Not that he didn't have some good themes after that. The Hollywood Rock theme was amazing. The People's Champ theme from 2000 2001 was still a good theme, but to me, this one, again, you want to talk about embodying a wrestler. This was the embodiment of The Rock and his swagger and his charisma and just, everything about it. When The Rock started to lighten up a little bit and be a little bit more of a nicer guy, and then, it switched up a little bit, which was fine, because that was fine, because The Rock did lighten up as a character. But this was kind of you know, this was the people's champion that wasn't the people's champion, and he was, fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin, but then eventually he broke away from the corporation and, was fighting Vince McMahon and fighting Shane McMahon and fighting The Undertaker, and we were on board with his, his swagger, even though he'd still, uh, roast quite a bit of the audience and, still tell even his devoted supporters that it didn't matter what we think, and shine whatever object we had up real nice, turn the son bitch sideways, and stick it straight up our candy ass. Yeah, this was the embodiment of that character, and it's a badass theme with a badass guitar, a pounding guitar and bass line, and The Rock's trash talk on top of that, and it is just a tour de force from Jim Johnson.
I
Nice.
personally liked his mid 2000s theme, where it's like it was just The Rock says, The Rock says.
That's one, like, yeah,
character.
they I mean, it's fine, like I don't have
Yeah.
anything against
When they
it,
like
but
cleaned it up a little bit,
they
like
cleaned it
comparing The
up because
Rock's
he
earlier
he
themes, it's
cleaned up
like,
himself. He was a little bit more,
yeah,
little bit more friendlier at that time. You know, he was a little.
Yeah. Like the theme songs they used for like SmackDown versus Raw 2006 through the last time they used him. Which
Yeah,
was like I
Hmm.
think to 2010 maybe. I think yeah.
yeah. All right, so we are now down to everybody's number one. And it's CJ's turn
Can
first.
we do an honorable mention
Yeah,
round
sure. We'll
maybe real
do.
quick and just
Yes.
give like a
Yes.
2 or 3 words for each of your
Okay,
honorable
two or three
mentions?
because I didn't really come up with honorable mentions because I
Yeah.
would have
I
had
wrote
like four
4.
more lists. Okay, CJ, honorable mentions.
Okay, so for my honorable mentions, I did have Samoa Joe's ROH theme. The champ is here.
Ooh,
Boom, 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 boom,
that's
boom,
That
boom.
that's
was
perfect. I
The
forgot
champ
about
is
that song. It's
here.
awesome.
such a good
Well,
one. That was one of my
champ is
favorite
here
ROH themes. That him
for
and CM
sure.
Punk's ROH themes were just
Okay,
bangers to
which
me.
CM Punk ROH theme was it? Was it the cult of personality? Was it
No,
The
the
it was
AFI.
AFI?
yes,
Okay.
it was AFI's. So I did kind of write down Cena's entrance music. As much as I am not a Cena fan, the trumpets are iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down a lot of Jim Johnson, just nods to him and the CFOs, because if anybody, filling his shoes could have been an easy task, and I think the CFOs really, when you go in and kind of investigate, they did a lot of good music, for a lot of superstars. The Rock and Mick Foley were also on my honorable mentions. And another one that was kind of a dark horse for me that I didn't realize, but until I kind of did some research, is Eddie Guerrero's theme musics were always, always
Mm.
a hit. You got Latino Heat and Light Sheet and Steel really specifically. Those were great. And I really thought about putting those in my top 10, but those made my honorable mentions.
All right. Oh, easy. What are your honorable mentions?
All right, my honorable mention, Kazuchika Okada's Rainmaker. Like, there are many wrestlers that have just iconic sound effects. Stone Cold's Glass Shatter, Ric Flair's Woo, CM Punk's TV Static. Okada has the coin drop, and when we heard that at All In, it was just amazing. Like, holy
And
crap!
all
Like,
and the
this is
all ends
one
when
of
he had that shitty fucking remix theme too. So that
I
should
know the
tell you how the
remix
coin
was
drop
weird, but
feels.
at least for G1 Supercard, we got the actual Rainmaker that we wanted. So
That's the
like
only thing good
it's
about
just
that
such a
show.
great song. Yeah. Anyways, and sadly, that was gonna be my number 6 before I switched it for Raws Across the Nation. So apologies to New Japan fans. Other ones are LAX's first theme, the Latino American Exchange, because they're freaking awesome. Jeff Jarrett's My World. I just love that
Okay,
guitar riff
nice.
That is a good song.
opening.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. When I heard that at a Border City wrestling show, I was like, oh yeah. And you just hear the it's awesome. Undertaker's Rollin' because yes, Limp Bizkit may not be the best band, but when you hear Rollin', it's just awesome. And you see Undertaker on the motorcycle, it's awesome. And then lastly, Minoru Suzuki's Kaza ni Nare because that is just too damn catchy. And
Okay.
especially just to scream at the top of your lungs.
All right, Nick, your honorable mentions.
Okay, so I have a few as I compiled my top 10 list. These just like hit me, and I was like, oh, maybe I should swap them out. But my list was what it was. I said I went with like one of my guts on it, so I got a few. But Alistair Black's WWE theme is an absolute banger. I love that like style of like hardcore music. Not a big fan of the creaking drawbridge music that they added into it later, but super sick theme. His AEW theme fits him very well, but I would never. It's like death, like black metal. It's not my thing, but I think it was Code Orange did the Alistair Black song, who's a great band. It's an awesome song. My Time by Triple H. Or by Triple H for Triple H. Like I said, I just assumed everyone sang their songs till I was like 25. Um, so that's like I just really liked that song when I was a kid. And I remember I'm pretty positive I have a memory of the little Titantron figures with the little chips on the bottom. I would just like over and over try to play that song because I just liked it and I didn't have it on a CD. Um, Another song that was really close. This was the one of the only ones I cut, but was No Chance in Hell, Vince McMahon's song. Awesome Attitude Era. You knew you were just getting ready to be angry whenever you heard that music. Um, Darby Allin song I put on honorable mention. I think that as time goes on, if he keeps that song and he grows at the rate that I think he will, that will eventually become an iconic song. That little opening dun 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 guitar riff,
Mm-hmm.
perfect, fits him so well.
And then the
That's
Dark Order's parody of that.
yeah, that's only gonna go up. Thorn in Your Eye, like I said, the Raw theme from the early Attitude Era, or I think the whole Attitude Era. Um, don't know any what they're saying at all in it, but it was
It's
awesome.
bombs in the bomb in the soul of feet, homicide in the night, heart full of fire in your eye.
Yep. AJ Styles TNA theme, my only TNA theme on the list. I like it a lot better than his WWE theme. The I Am song, thought that was great. Um, the Nation of Domination, just because it's one of the I think it's the first song I ever remember hearing. Like the first time I ever watched Raw, it was like the Nation of Domination were coming out and The Rock was getting ready to cut a promo, and it's just a cool. It like it fits that group perfectly, and it's just a cool song. It's I always bump that one whenever we're like when I used to tailgate WrestleMania or where there's like a wrestling party. It just comes on. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like I forgot about that one. Um, this Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage, one of my favorite bands when I was in high school. CM Punk was my favorite wrestler when I was in high school. Also, people kind of forget because it's so synonymous with cult personality, but when he came out at Money in the Bank when he beat Cena, he came out to that song. So
Yeah.
that Chicago pop for him winning that title was with Killswitch Engage playing. Um, love that song. The one song that was adapted into a wrestling song that I one of my favorite bands of all time, the Pixies, which Where Is My Mind, Orange Cassidy's current theme song. It took me a while before I was like, okay, I guess this does work for him, but I just love the Pixies and I've listened to that song and all of their music for years. And then my final two, one my one Ring of Honor theme, which is Age of the Falls. Mostly that opening with
With the
the
screams.
screaming, and I think it's from Halloween or something like that. Just the woman screaming. Age of the Fall was like I think the best angle in the history of Ring of Honor. It was really like hop popping. Like that's when I got into Ring of Honor. Age of the Fall kind of like brought me into it with the whole blood dripping on Jimmy Jacobs when they strung up the Briscoes and um, kind of not necessarily my style, but a perfect song for them and a perfect moment there. And then my last honorable mention is the worst decrease in quality of a song in the history of pro wrestling. And it's Randy Orton's "Nothing You Can Say." I don't know what the name of the song is
Burning
a
My Light.
bajillion burning my
Yeah.
light a bajillion times better than Voices.
Oh yeah,
That song is terrible. His
it
old song
is.
was one of my favorite. That was real close to being in my top 10 as well. I think I took that one and No Chance in Hell out. But that Randy Orton song was awesome. And I loved that was when Randy Orton was probably my favorite in that whole. I think it was WrestleMania 22 when he was in that triple threat, and I just remember like pulling for him so hard and being so disappointed when he switched songs to that awful song he still has to this day
It's
that
our,
for some reason people like.
Yeah,
it's actually because he hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that he doesn't like it, but I don't care. I liked it.
whatever. Yeah, all the more reason to hate Randy Orton because he hates when he's got greatness bestowed upon him like that thing. Um, all right, so my honorable mention list I'm going to compile. I compiled here. I mentioned the Funeral March Undertaker theme. Christian's Waterproof Blonde theme. I really like that one. Just really awesome theme. And his TNA theme, which is kind of now his current theme. So
Hmm.
kudos there. Um, I liked both I Am by AJ Styles and his Evil Ways theme. That's probably the only part of that era of TNA that I actually enjoyed. Final Countdown by Bryan Danielson, just because it's such an iconic entrance and
Hmm.
love that one. Bryan Danielson didn't sing it obviously, but it was his theme in Ring of Honor. I really liked the Gilded Warrior, Nick Aldis's old theme, the one they used it all in and what have you. The DX theme is pretty
Hmm.
Yeah.
iconic and badass. I for some reason I really liked Razor Ramon's theme and I also really liked Diesel's theme back in the day. Um, just cool themes and the The final theme is Hiroshi Tanahashi's first theme. I don't really like his current Go Ace theme as much, but his original theme is called High Energy. Yeah, the original one was definitely it was a high energy song for the living embodiment of Goku and the true ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's my honorable mentions. Now it's time to get to our number ones. CJ.
You want to run down your list first and then say your number one just so we get a reminder?
Oh Lord.
Oh, if you don't have
Well,
them typed out, that's
you
fine.
you can just listen to the whole thing again. That's fine.
Okay.
But first, hey, don't listen to the whole thing again. Like, close it, go back and listen to the whole thing again to make my view count go up.
There you go. There you go. You should be taking notes. There's a quiz at the end.
Yes.
So my number one pick, and if anybody listens to the regular Geeking Out podcast or the
Just
Us Marks podcast every week, this probably isn't going to be that surprising. My number one is Bray Wyatt's theme from WWE, the second one, the remixed version.
Oh,
I
I'm keeping quiet. Sorry.
to me, I love it. This once again was a ringtone on my phone for a really long time until I got a new one. It's creepy, it's weird. It has him kind of in the background talking. If you hear it like on its own, it is available on iTunes and Spotify if you want to hear it on your own, because they made it into like a whole song. It's not like a 1 minute 30-second track that loops for 4 minutes like a lot of wrestling themes do. I like the rock feel. I like the creepy vibes to it. I know that's a shock. I think that this remix introduced the darker fiend character to us. It kind of brought in, if you listen to it, you can actually hear bits from like what he would say on the Firefly Funhouse, that I'm sorry for what I did. Like, and you can hear like that Bray kind of in the background, but you get the hurt and the heel, and it's fantastic. To me, it's a great song. It's a great wrestling entrance. The whole vibe of his entrance when he would come to this, subtract the red light wrestling deal because I wasn't on board for that, but the mask he wore was made by horror movie people. It everything about it, the lantern, everything about it, I was on board for. I was all in on the Bray Wyatt fiend character. It's I'm sad that I'm never going to see that or hear that on WWE, but it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. That's my number one.
Okay.
That first his match against Finn, that is one of the single like greatest entrances of all time, I think.
That was a whole moment.
Yeah.
Like chill moments.
Even his like Hell in a Cell entrance and the match ended up being awful.
Yeah,
But
you
like
just
that
like
him coming in, awesome.
And even the WrestleMania match with Randy Orton, like that whole entrance and the box and stuff, it was a great thing. If you just cut off the entrance, like, okay, well, here's the entrance, you got what you wanted, so we're just not going to do the match, like that would have worked out so much better for me. But
that's the Fiend in general, right? It's great if you don't watch the matches.
Yeah, basically. Just so sad because he was a good wrestler. He could have
Yeah,
had great
it's
matches.
not his wrestling, it's the booking of the matches.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah,
Totally.
I agree. That's a good call.
All right. So, EZ, what is your number one?
All right, so this is probably going to be from someone you would never ever think that I was either a fan of them or that this would be the number one on my theme song. But anytime you hear this, immediately you knew who it was if you were following them closely. But it is just my opinion, probably the most badass theme, whether you cheer for them or vilify them, that is just, there's really no words to put this. And for me, it is Angel on My Shoulder by the Beautiful People. And in my opinion, the greatest women's tag team ever. Like, to me, like, if you wanted to look at a women's evolution, you ironically got to look at the beautiful people who just they would fight anybody, and especially the motto of "cleanse the world, one ugly person at a time." It's just that's just what more can you say? Like, and you hear the song, and it's like it's so fucking badass. Like Dale Oliver, honestly, I think he just made so many amazing theme songs for TNA Impact. And when I see the beautiful people, it's like honestly, I think they were the first villains that I cheered for because not only because Angelina Love's from Toronto, but they're just fucking amazing. And especially as Taz put it, let the pigeons loose. Like the song is just so awesome. And God, every time I hear it, it's so amazing. Like if WWE want to say like, we have we have a women's evolution going on right now. It's like, oh fuck that. TNA did that way before you guys. They were owning the knockout titles. They were owning the knockout tag team titles. And the members of like Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, Lacey Von Erich, Madison Rain, who whichever variation that you see of the beautiful people, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky built this as like the most badass and just it might look generic as like just plastic Barbies being bullies, but honestly, they took it a step further and they made it their incredible character. It may have been made by Vince Russo as well, but you know what? This is one of the few ideas that this is honestly bad freaking ass. So honestly, like I said, Beautiful People, in my opinion, is like one of the greatest songs you will ever hear. It may be short and sweet, but you hear that guitar riff and it's like, oh fuck. Like you're about to get cat called out by these bitches here because they are going to fuck your life up. And I'm also so happy that I did meet the Beautiful People at StarCast and I did tell them you are by far the greatest women's tag team ever. So there's that.
Um, so speaking of the beautiful people, Nick and I at a TNA event at Rentwan Park in Marion, Illinois, spent $10 each for Velvet Sky to touch us on the shoulder briefly. And when we got our picture, and that was we got like it was a photo op, and we got done with it. And Nick put it best as we both went halvesies on the photo. We just spent $10 to have a pretty girl touch us on the shoulder.
Oh please! I had a picture of both of them. It just looked like I
Oh,
was
this
sitting
was,
in
but when we went to
Madison.
Angelina Love, she was doing like her whole sedated, like in
Oh
a
yeah,
trance.
yeah.
So
I hated that.
she just signed the autograph and handed it back to you and didn't even talk. I'm like,
Actually,
hey, hey, how you doing? All right.
you, you know what's funny? Low key, she told me at Starcast she hated it.
Oh, cool. At least there's that.
Like I'm not surprised. I thought that was the stupidest thing they did.
All right.
It actually kind of got me turned off from TNA for a while.
Well, hopefully, hopefully that bad memory of meeting Angelina Love does not detract Nick from his number one. Nick, what is your first thing?
Nothing can detract me from a number one. So I have my list from me, so I'm just gonna run it down. My 10, Christian, the At Last theme, truly, madly, deeply for the best season in the world. Any of the Undertaker themes that don't have lyrics. Number 8. Number 7, the Hardy Boys. Number 6, Tarzan Boy for Jungle Boy. Number 5, Metalingus for Edge. Number 4, the Symphony Song for Volter. Number 3, 3-6 Mafia, Mark Henry. Number 2, Rising Sun, Shinsuke Nakamura. And number 1, which I think is it's as subjective, but it's as close as objective as you can get for the perfect wrestling song. It's been mentioned earlier, but Stone Cold Steve Austin's song, childhood personified, and you've the most consistent crazy pops of any song I think in wrestling history comes from that song. Every time he came out, the crowd erupted. Even to this day, well, I guess last time he came out was during one of the first COVID shows, but you take that one out of the equation. Um, I think that he when he came out at the last WrestleMania, I was there for, and I never got to see Austin. I went to an Attitude Era Raw, but he wasn't there. So that was really cool for me to finally get to experience that live. I think that was in Dallas. But just the perfect wrestling song. It is repetitive. There's not a lot to it. It's just kind of the same little guitar riff and drum, but nothing better. I said Edge might have the best like opening 5 seconds, other than my number one, which is this, because nothing, I don't think anything will ever beat the glass shattering and that first dun 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 dun. That's like untouchable. I don't know if we'll ever get a song that gets that kind of reaction. And just always meant something good. You were about to see something good. Whenever you heard that song, you're gonna see a good match. You're gonna see a good promo. You're gonna see a good angle. You know, he was just on fire. Nothing new said there. No one's like, yeah, Stone Cold's okay. But just the perfect wrestling song and my favorite, my go-to wrestling song.
Okay. So I'll recap my list. Number one, Chris Hero CZW theme. Number 10, excuse me. Chris Hero CZW theme. Number 9, Ken Shamrock's theme. Number 8, Kingdom Cody Rhodes theme. Number 7, Unsettling Differences, Kevin Steen's Ring of Honor theme. Number 6, the Four Horsemen theme from WCW. Number 5, Sexy Boy, the Shawn Michaels theme. Number 4, Ikarino Jushin, the Jushin Thunder Liger theme. Number 3, Undertaker Mystery of Darkness theme. Number 2, The Rock 98-99 theme. And number 1 is obviously Ass Man, the Billy Gunn theme. That is my all-time favorite. Goodbye and good night. No. Number 1 is Kazani Nare by Minoru Suzuki. I mean, I have that tattooed on my body.
Yeah, that's the most
I was in
commitment
shock
to a
for just
song.
a second.
What's up?
I would have been shocked, but I was also like, really?
I was like, no, nuh-uh.
Oh, my nice man.
Yeah, it's not that. So, back to get serious. Yeah, I have that song tattooed. I have Kazani Nare and I Have to Be a Lonely Warrior Tonight tattooed on my arm. That's how much I love that song. Like, and it's, you know, as much as I love Minoru Suzuki, and I think he's, you know, one of the greatest of all time, not only in pro wrestling but in mixed martial arts. But, you know, when I first heard that theme, I heard everybody sing the lyric, and you know, so naturally I get on the computer and I'm like, what does that mean? It's Kazanina Ray and it means become the wind, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm kind of like, that's weird for like what his character is and what that's supposed to. So I did some more research to find out, you know, to translate the whole song into English. And like, you want to talk about a beautiful, powerful song? That is that's what that is. It is a song that can speak to somebody having to go through a struggle, trying to live their life, trying to achieve their dreams, trying to achieve what they want out of life, and the, you know, the struggle and how you have to take a lot of that on yourself, and you know, you have to be a lonely warrior. And that really spoke to me on a personal level. It really you know, that's a song that really touched me, especially, you know, when I think back to a lot of stuff I've gone through. Um, and yeah, sometimes you know, you just got to become the wind. You got to be free, and to do that, you do have to be a lonely warrior in some cases, and that is why Kazani Nare, the Minoru Suzuki theme, sang by Ayumi Nakamura, gonna give her props, is my number one theme. So yeah, thank you all for listening to this one. We'd like for you in the comments section below to put your top 10 favorite pro wrestling themes, and we'll definitely check that out. We'd like for everyone to be part of the discussion, because this is one of the more fun discussions you can have about pro wrestling. And, you know, hopefully it doesn't become toxic like everything else it does in wrestling. So thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from the world of comic books, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Follow me on my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeeka9, Twitter athletic_geeka9, Instagram athleticgeeka9. I'm on Patreon if you'd like to help contribute to this channel financially. And yeah, anybody else want to plug social media?
CJ, ladies first.
Sure. I've got the Twitter at CJTmall0.
Okay.
I'm on the Twitter as well at Eric Zarens, but I do go by Easy for the wrestling community.
Nick, have you decided to reactivate Twitter?
No.
Okay. enough said. So yeah, check all that out, and also check us all out when hopefully we can all four get together like this again on a live stream for the Just Us Marks live stream. Sometimes it's not all four of us, but yeah, definitely check that out. So until next time, have a good one.